Hi everyone, today we'll be creating a database using Access. So first when you open Access, you will see something like this. You can open a new database by clicking on this blank database or here which says new. So I'll go straight away here. And when you click on that, you will get this, which will tell you to save the database. So you can give a database name here. So I'll be creating a student database. So I'll put student database. And if it shows the location where you want to save, it's totally fine. You can click create. But if it doesn't want show you the location, you can click on this button. And if you hover over it, it says browse for a location to put your database. So click on that. And then you can select the location where you want to. So I'll be setting the location in my downloads and create. So this is what you first see when you open. There will be something called table 1, but you don't want to name tables as table 1. So first, before you put any fields or any records, we'll first go to design view. So here, when you click the view, it will show datasheet view and design view. So currently what you can see is the datasheet view. So let's go to design view, and it says to save the table because it hasn't been saved yet. So I'm planning to put the student ID and student name here. So I'll be putting student table. It's better to put student, not just student, but TBL, which is table, because we'll be creating queries, forms, and reports as well. So you can easily identify whether it's a table or what if you save it this way. Okay. So first, when you create a table, one of the most important things that you must know is that there is something called a primary key, and primary key will be there in any table, and primary keys are used to uniquely identify a record in a table. And this is very helpful when it comes to developing structural databases with relationships, and I'll get to that later. So first, in the student table, I'll be putting student ID. All right. And then there are different types of databases. Auto number, I plan to put a student ID which has letters and numbers. So I think so auto number will not be helpful. Auto number is something that will automatically be added by the database, and that's nothing that we can do. Auto number cannot be added by a user, and I don't think it's very user friendly. So and if you delete a record, the auto numbers will not change. And then we have short text. Short text is the field size of a maximum field size of a short text is 255 characters, and so on. The most important ones are short text, date time, currency. Auto number can be useful at some point, but it's better to always put short text because then you can edit it any way you want. So after that, here you can see we have general and lookup. Well, what we are going to use is this general. And as you can see, I told you the maximum field size was 255. 255 characters. I earlier mentioned that I plan to put an ID which has 6 characters. And here it's 255, and that's way more than what I need. So I'll be editing that to 6. Because though we think that the student ID is only going to be 6 characters, when it comes to saving the database, they keep 255 characters for the ID, and that takes a lot of space and storage, which will not be helpful if you're creating a very big database. So we set the field size, and then here it says format and input mask. Both are ways where you can give them the format that you want to see the ID in. So for example, if I wanted an ID which had this is added when you use it in the format. So if I wanted an ID which had 3 characters in the beginning, then a dash, and then a 3 characters again. So I can put 3 @ dash 3 at signs. So this is the format. So this at sign represents any character. Or to be more specific, we have input mask here, which so I use it that's 0, 9, capital L, simple L, capital A, and simple A. So these 6 represent 6 different things. This is the important part that you should remember. So 0, so if I type here 0, 0 says 0 is that a number must be added. It's not optional, it must be added. And a 9 means that a number is optional. I'll do a few examples so that you'll understand. And then capital L means that a letter must be added. It's not optional. And then simple L means that it's an optional letter. And then capital A means it's you must add either a number or a letter. And then simple A means that it's optional. So it's kind of the same. But let me explain it separately. All right, so in this, as I said, 0 represents compulsory number. And then a 9 represents optional number. And then capital L represents compulsory letter. Simple L represents optional letter. Capital A represents compulsory number or letter. Simple A represents optional number or letter. So for example, in input mask, if we put something like 0, 9, capital L, simple L, A, capital A, simple A. So when the user inputs it in the table, not the design view, in the data sheet view, so 0 says that it's a compulsory number, right? So then you must enter a number. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, anything from 0 to 9. And then it says 9 over here. So that says that it's optional. It's not a must to put another number. Or you can just skip the 9 and go to the next L, which says it's a compulsory letter. So here I prefer to put another number, so I'll put 2. And then it says compulsory letter, so I'll put S. It can be simple or capital, but it just must be it's not optional. You must add a letter. And then it says simple L, optional letter. So I can either put a letter now or straight away. So I'll now decide, because it's optional, I'll skip that simple L and then go to A, which is a compulsory number or letter. So I can put either K, or I can put 6 or anything. And then it's an optional number or letter. So if I want, I can add another number, or I can add another letter, or I can just leave it like that because it's optional. If you take another example, if it's something like capital A, simple A, this, yeah, if it's like this, again, so it's compulsory number or letter for the first 2. So I can put like S, capital S, or M, P, anything, or either, both simple. It doesn't matter. It doesn't specify which case the letter should be in, but it's just that it's a compulsory number or letter. Or instead of putting both letters, you can put number and letter. It's your choice. So, and then it's a simple A, which is an optional number or letter. You can even decide to skip that, right? And then it's a capital L, so it's a compulsory letter. So I'll put H, and then it's a 0, which is a compulsory number. So I'll put 8, and then optional number, 6, and then compulsory, not 2 numbers. So 4, 5. I hope you understood it. So let's move back to the database. Oh, before that, and also if you want your whatever ID or whatever to have, like when you put it in input mask, for example, if you want a space in the middle, for example, if I wanted a space here between the simple A and L, here I'll put double quotes and space. There you go. It's a must to put the double quotes, or else it will not show the space, or it will show an error message. All right, let's go back to the database. So here we set short text, and then we set the field size here. So input mask format can also be used to show in which format you want to put the ID, but input mask is much more specific than a format. So like this is letter and it's in and it's L, so that's the way I remember letters. 0 and 9 are anyways integers, so it's numbers, and then obviously the one left is A, and that's obviously number or letter. So that's how I kind of remember it, or 9 la. I don't know if that helps, but anyways. So here I'll put a format for my input mask as I want it in 6 digits, so I prefer like all the student IDs will look the same way. So I'll put 3 capital L's, which is compulsory 3 letters, and then 3 zeros. So it's 3 compulsory numbers. In that way, I can see all the IDs in one way. And then validation rule. So this field size, we can also use that for as a validation rule. For example, if I wanted to validate the field size, I can put like, or the more better way to use is the len, which means length. Length, and then you open brackets, and then inside the brackets you put the square brackets, right? So inside the square bracket you write the field name. So my field name is student ID, right? And make sure that the spellings are the same as the field name here. And then outside the both brackets you put equals, and my field size here is 6, so I'll be putting 6, right? And also when you put the field name, make sure to put double quotes, or else it will not work. Just like that. And then validation text. So after the validation rule is executed, and if the user has not entered the ID in the proper manner, validation text is what is shown. It's like the message shown saying in what format the ID should be written. So I'll put, so in this case, it's like the length check. So I'll put student ID must be only 6 characters. Right. So that's student ID, and then I'm gonna put student name. So in databases, I prefer if you not use spaces, like even in the table, and then field names. So this is why like every word I start with a capital letter, so I can like easily separate the words, or you can even put underscore like this, anything that you prefer. It just should be easy for you to understand. So here, even for student name, I prefer short text. And field size also, as I said, 255 is, I mean, I haven't seen any name which is 255 characters long. So I'll put about 50, like maybe 40, including first name and second name. So yeah, that's basically it. Control S. Um, yeah, I did encounter a problem. So this access that I'm using right now is the 2016 version. But in the Access 2013 version, if you do not put double quotes in the validation rule, it does not work in the length check. But in the 2016 version, if you put the double quotes, it gives you an error message. So I think you should be considerate about what version you use as well. Right, so Control S and save the table, and then you go to the data sheet view. Now you can kind of do a trial and error. So now I am keeping like pressing letters, but it does not allow me to because I have done a validation rule. So if I press a number now, and that works. I am keeping on typing right now, but it doesn't let me because the length, there's a length check, and I put input mask. All right, so for now I'll put student name. I'll just put one letter and see what happens. It doesn't let me type after 40. So that is the importance of putting validation. And we validate information. Validation is used to check whether the data has been input in the correct form. But validation cannot be used to check whether the data is correct or not. As in, like, we cannot refer to another database and double check whether the data is correct. Validation is only used to check whether the data is in the correct form, so that it will be easy for the users to access them. All right, so if I add another field name here as DOB, which means date of birth, so this automatically comes the data type as short text, but we do not need short text because we have a field called date time, which is specifically made for dates and times. So here, format, instead of typing the format here, you can see there's a drop down array, so you can see the different types of dates. So this is the different types of dates, and this is like an example for each. So I usually prefer short date because it's kind of specific and anyone can understand. So short date, and if you want to access, so Control S and save. So student name and then date of birth. So it gives you this mini calendar kind of thing here. You click on that. And for example, if the date of birth given is something like 1980, June 27th, I'll put June 27th here. And then, because 1980, it's like 40 years ago. So I can't be going 40 years back using this error. So I'll put in the current year, I'll put June 27th. And then I'll type 1980 here. And that's perfectly fine. And that actually saves a lot of your time in the exam. So I hope this is just one table. I'll be creating more tables with different types of data types, and I will be sharing some tricks and tips which can be very helpful, and what these required index, different types of like in this general what this allowed zero length and whatever is. So I'll be explaining those as well. But this is the very first things that you must know. So thank you so much for joining, and hope to see you soon with another video.